This is a stock chart. On its own, it reflects all of the known information about a company. All of its earnings, misses and beats, the good news and the bad news, macroeconomic environment, every rumor, executive change, product launch, it's all here. Every bit of it is reflected in these bars that we call a stock chart. But just because the information is in the chart doesn't mean we can see it without a little bit of help. And that's where Pattern Finder comes in. The first thing we need to do is unlock the psychology in the stock chart, and that's where traders and investors have been buying and selling a stock often, and it's been used as a reversal, either a local top or a local bottom. So let's turn to Pattern Finder's horizontal lines, its congestion lines. We turn them on, and all of a sudden we can see where market psychology has been building, where there's been buying and selling at prices that have acted as pivot points, local highs or local lows. While horizontal lines are very helpful, stocks move in trends, either uptrends or downtrends, with higher highs and higher lows, or vice versa. Next, we turn to Pattern Finder's ability to draw in those trends algorithmically based on these congestion points. We go to trend lines. And now we have automatically drawn support and resistance. Finally, within this psychology, within this stock chart, there are patterns that other traders are looking for in which they will act in a certain way when they occur. We do that by turning on selecting patterns. Now that we have our long-term chart and the stock passes the sniff test, we can draw in profit zones and loss zones. For this stock, the loss zone would be from the current price down to one of the congestion points. And the profit zone would be the distance from the current price to resistance. This is the start of a plan. Next, we go to the medium-term chart. When we go to the 3-year daily chart, we see a similar setup where there is room to resistance with a trending support, meaning there is a series of higher lows. But this time we see there's a cup with a handle. A cup with a handle is generally a bullish strategy once the handle is completed, and so we continue on our path. The 10-year long-term chart passed the sniff test. The 3-year medium-term chart looks to have passed the sniff test as well, and this time we have a reinforcing cup with handle, which is generally a bullish strategy after the handle is completed. The stock bounced off of support, and this gives us confidence. We can also add a moving average. Let's do the 50-day. We can see the stock bounced right off the 50-day moving average, right on the point of congestion. Pattern Finder is finding the psychology in the charts that will help us form a trading plan. And finally, we've gone long-term and medium-term. Let us go to the short-term chart. Here again, we see the same conclusion. The stock bounced off of the short-term support right here. Trend support is built off of the bottom of the cup of handle. There is room to the upside, and we have a clear loss zone where we would be stopped out. Let's go back to the long-term chart. Whether or not this is a trade that someone would engage in is personal. And whether or not long-term is 10 years and medium-term is 3 years and short-term is 18 months is also personal. For day traders, the long-term is 3 months, the medium-term is 5 days, and the short-term is 1 day. The systematic process stays the same. Long-term, medium-term, short-term to define whether or not the profit zones and loss zones look good. But this is not what we started with. What we started with was an empty chart. We said this is a stock chart, and on its own it reflects all of the known information about a company. And by the time we were done, we found all of that known information inside the stock chart by looking at market psychology and building a trading plan. Of all the powerful things that Pattern Finder can do, from drawing congestion lines to trend resistance and trend support, to the can slim patterns, perhaps the most powerful is the automatic drawing in of the P&L zones that we've discussed. You simply click on P&L zones, and Pattern Finder will draw in the natural first profit zone and second level profit zone, loss zone and second level loss zone. Using the bullish charts screens, you'll find setups such that the first level upside is significantly larger than the first level downside, as well as an uptrend. If using the bearish charts, you'll find the reverse. The algorithmic work is done for you instantly, so you have time to trade. Now that we know how to analyze a chart, the real question is, how do we find charts that satisfy these requirements quickly so we can identify trade opportunities. And we do that through the screener. Go to Stock Screens, and we use one of our pre-built screens named Bullish Chart. And what are we looking for in this screen? We'll click Edit Results, and we'll see stocks that are up over the week, 10 days, and month, relative strength in 3 months in the 80th percentile or higher, relative strength in its industry in the 80th percentile or higher, up volume relative to down volume is at least 40% larger, 1.4x, over 30 days. The up volume to down volume over the last 30 days is greater than the up volume to down volume over the last 50 days. That means we have increasing buying strength. And now we see some new fields. Distance to the nearest upside congestion on the 3-year chart is at least 11%, and the distance to the nearest downside congestion is less than 11%. This means the upside relative to the downside will be greater. We do the same thing for the 18-month chart. So we will have time frame agreement. We then look for the 3-month relative strength to be greater than the 12-month relative strength, which means we have increasing relative strength. We use our proprietary buy-sell rating to be in the 75th percentile, and we want stocks that are up on the day. And we'll pluck a stock out and look at its chart. We'll turn on the congestion lines. We'll turn on trending support and resistance. And we'll turn on the can slim patterns. If the screen is set up properly, we should have a recent uptrend due to increasing relative strength and buying volume. There should be more room to the nearest upside congestion, that's this distance here, relative to the distance to downside congestion, that's this distance here. So the 3-year chart delivers what we would expect the screen to deliver, an uptrend, more distance to the upside than the downside, meaning the reward to risk is greater than 1. But if this screen works, we should see a similar, if not better chart going to the 18-month chart. Let's do that. We see this same uptrend as we did on the 3-year chart. We see more room to the nearest upside congestion, that's this distance, relative to the distance to the nearest downside congestion. We also note that Patten Finder is drawing this upside congestion line, the next profit zone target, with the bottom of a cup. We also note that the stock's recent uptrend has pushed it through trend resistance. And there we have it. We can find bullish charts with computing power simply by going to the screener. And we can do the same thing for bearish charts by simply clicking on the bearish chart screener. Thanks for watching.